I got divorced the night after our wedding ceremony because of the heartbreaking stunt he pulled. My ex-husband had always been low effort, which ended up destroying our marriage. The entire time we were dating, I've had to physically ask him to help me around the house or do anything together. One time, I had gotten really sick with a fever, but he still had the nerve to walk into the bedroom, wake me up, and ask me to cook us lunch. It really sucked how he never once felt like initiating anything. Worst of all, he was very cheap when it came to our relationship, but loved splurging on himself. Like for Christmas, he re-gifted me the frying pan we already had in our kitchen, while he bought himself a brand new PlayStation 5. He laughed when I got teary-eyed and jokingly said, "It's just a prank. You know, since we joked about how bad your cooking was last year. When you get better, I'll buy you a new pan." I was incredibly upset and threw out the old frying pan to buy a new one on my own. I was desperate to stop myself from remembering how much he acted like he couldn't be bothered by me. Despite all the fights, I was still in love with him. And even though he proposed with a $12 copper ring from Shein, I was incredibly excited to get married. I planned each detail to be perfect to the point where he only needed to show up, read his vows, and exchange the rings. I was incredibly excited, especially when I saw how beautiful everything turned on. However, during the ceremony, my husband walked down the aisle after me because he was late and read out the most ridiculous wedding vow. He even ended it with, "This version keeps the tone polite and understanding while ensuring your query is clear." In the moment, I broke into tears. Not because his message was touching, but because I felt so disappointed. Out of all things to be so low effort, he couldn't spend a few minutes writing out a heartfelt wedding vow. After the ceremony, his best man pulled me to the side to confess that my husband originally decided not to write up vows at all. So out of pity, his best man had to step in and write one up on ChatGPT. He didn't expect that my husband would read everything word for word without changing anything, and sincerely apologized. His confession broke my heart more, and I spent the rest of the evening drinking down alcohol, hoping to forget my problems. I wanted nothing to do with him anymore, and avoided him all night. The following morning, I woke up second-guessing my decision and shook him awake. I asked if we could have a serious conversation, and he dismissed it saying, "Sure, yeah, after you make us breakfast." I got up and cooked up a quick English breakfast and asked him to have the conversation over the meal. I told him that I was very upset yesterday, and asked why he couldn't write up a nice wedding vow on his own. He clicked his tongue to show he was annoyed and replied, "It was good enough. No one is gonna notice or remember anyway." He sipped his coffee calmly and scrolled through his phone. I dug my fingernails in my palm to gather a bit of courage and honestly told him, "What about me? I would remember forever." He stood up from his chair and demanded I stop making such a big deal out of every little thing he did or didn't do. I knew by then, things between us had been a terrible mistake. I packed my bags while he was busy watching videos in the living room couch. Before I could walk out the front door, he told me to pick up the laundry on my way home. If he had spared even a second to look at me carrying my bags out and tried to stop me, maybe I would have even given him a stupid third chance. I walked out the door and moved back into my parents' place, explaining each heartbreaking detail. Around 10 p.m., I finally received a low-effort text from my husband, asking, "Where you at? I'm hungry." I blocked him and started the paperwork for my divorce that same hour.